Good morning. It is Saturday, May the 29th, and it is the first day of Memorial Day weekend 2021. And as you can see, it's another glorious day here in the Pacific Northwest. Sarah and I are back at Mount Rainier National Park, and in my backpack here I have a permit to spend 2 nights on the upper mountain. We have our first night on the Glacier Alpine Zone and the second night on the Little Tahoma Alpine Zone. The ultimate objective is to make it to the summit of Little Tahoma. We have a lot of obstacles on the way there, so we may or may not even make it. We'll see how we do. There will be crevasses, there will be avalanche danger, there'll be some roped glacier travel, there'll be some rock scrambling. I've heard the summit ridge of Little Tahoma definitely makes you shake in your pants a little bit. So we'll see how it all turns out. The weather forecast is supposed to be gorgeous all 3 days of this trip. That combined with a week of storms that we had previous to today, there's a lot of new snow up on the mountain, and just got to be wary that the sun doesn't warm the snow too much to where it causes an avalanche. Got to watch out for cornices, got to watch out for melting snow bridges, and we also have to remember to have some fun. We've never done this trip before. We've always wanted to climb Little Tahoma. We are approaching from Paradise, so we are going to cross the Cowlitz, the Ingram, and then climb the Whitman and hopefully make it to the top. Wish us luck. I'm really excited to get going on this one. Here we go. So the first major hill of this route is over. We have come up from Paradise, we came up this way, and now we are approaching the first break point. We're gonna get some water, gonna eat some snacks, and then we're gonna head up the second major hill and steepest hill probably of the day, but I really don't know, Panorama Point. We are making our way up Pan Point. The top of it is actually right up there. I'm standing on a false summit right now. And it's a very busy climbing route today, but everybody is having a lot of fun. So Sarah has just topped out over the top of Pan Point. She's walking up here to meet me. And you can see why they call it Panorama Point. It's really pretty up here. The atmosphere is really clear right now. You can see forever with very good clarity. The snow conditions are really good right now, I would say. Not slushy, it's very firm. It's a lot easier than what it was back in March. We are approaching the point in the climb where we are going to be leaving the crowds. We're going to be having a lot more solitude, and the whole nature of the trip is going to change. You can see the Muir snowfield here. I heard somebody earlier refer it to ants on an anthill. I guess you could make that comparison. We are going to make our way up over this way though. We're going to go up a little bit to about 8,600 feet and then go under Anvil Rock and cross over to the Cowlitz Glacier on that side. And at that point, we'll probably be getting close to looking for a place to set up camp. We have reached the point where we have left the main climbing route on the Muir snowfield and we are branching off on our own. We are making our own tracks in the snow now. The snow is still fairly firm, but it is softening up and it is the noon hour now. We expect it to be a bit further than we are, but we're not too far from where we can stop. We just got to make it over that ridge of rocks up there. Yonder of Sarah, we can start looking for a place to call it good for the day. It is relatively safe to stop before it gets to the hottest point of the day, before any snow bridges loosen up, avalanches let loose. So, usually when you're climbing on snow, it's safest to stop between noon and 1. Well, we have arrived at what we are going to call our camp for the night. And I have to say, it is pretty fantastic. We are right on pretty much the moraine of the Cowlitz Glacier, which is right over there. And you can see Little Tahoma right there. There's the first really good glimpse of it. Hopefully we'll make it to that part of the journey. You got views Anvil Rock up there, views of the top of Rainier. The Muir snowfield is back up over that crest of snow right there, and we came up from this direction here. So when setting up a tent on snow, to anchor it, it's not really too windy right now, but if the wind does pick up, the tent could fly away, especially in this exposed area. So I use these T-posts to make miniature little dead men to bury in the snow, and that'll keep the tent from flying away. I want to open this ventilation here for sure. Okay, and then I'm going to got some twine tied on here. Doesn't take much, just tie it on. Just double overhand knot here. So it cinches it down rather nicely. Okay, kind of make a measurement. Get that snow out of the way. Let's dig a little slot. Further back. Placement is everything. You got to get it so it's nice, and then you want to bury it. And that will not come out very easily. The tent is set up. Shelter is made, and now we just got to make our beds. Sarah and I both use 2 different types of air pads, especially when sleeping on snow. First, we put down a thin foam pad for our core, and that goes right against the ground. And then we blow up our other air pad that actually is inflatable. Sarah's testing out one of her newer ones today. So with my down sleeping bag, I always keep it in a waterproof, dry stuff sack. Because once down, it gets damp and wet, and it loses its insulated capabilities. And these bags can help you cinch it down to where it's in a pretty small compartment. Just take it out, throw it in the tent. All done. Now we're ready to eat and we're ready to take a nap because we've been up since 2:30 in the morning. From our camp, we got a pretty good view of the route that we're going to take tomorrow to get to our next camp. We are going to actually, I think, best to climb up the glacier. There's a snow bridge up here to get on top of this lip of this crevasse, and then head down this way to this flat spot on the other side, and then we're going to jump over to the Ingram right there. And then we got to go across the Ingram to that ramp of snow. And then that takes us up to a col between, I think, this peak and that buttress coming off of Little Tahoma. And there we should be able to access the Whitman Glacier right there. And that's probably where we'll make our next camp tomorrow night. It doesn't look like that far, but there's a lot of very dangerous obstacles between here and there. So one chore that takes a lot of time up here at a high camp, especially on snow or on a glacier, is melting your drinking water. Sometimes you're lucky enough to find a stream of meltwater that's coming like out of the rocks or out of the snow, and you don't have to go through the fuel and the time to melt your water. We're not that blessed at this campsite, so I'm starting that process now. I had my water bottle sitting out full of snow in the sun, and that melted one water bottle, and I drank that. But it's getting to the point now where the sun is getting lower, and it's getting a bit cooler out, and time to start thinking about cooking dinner and rehydrating for tomorrow. There's a lot of sun up here if you haven't noticed. You have to drink a ton of liquids in order to survive. You want your pee to be clear, to looking like light-colored lemonade. If it comes out looking like apple juice, you're too dehydrated. Last week on Unicorn Peak, my pee definitely looked like apple juice. Today it's been clear all day because I spent the week hydrating and preparing for this climb. So after your water for drinking is melted and boiled and sterilized, you gotta melt water to cook food. Now what's on the menu tonight? Well, we have beef stroganoff from a fantastic Mountain House meal, 27 grams of protein. Gonna need that tomorrow. And for dessert, My favorite, chocolate M&Ms. I'm gonna destroy these. Okay. If I feel up to it, I might have some Neo-Guri extra hot spicy ramen noodles for more carbohydrates, which I'm gonna need tomorrow. I'm gonna snack on some banana chips to get that potassium into my muscles. And I love these little noon capsules. These ones have caffeine in it, wild berry flavor. I love it. It's a great after dinner drink. And last but not least, chilling over here in the ice, which is kind of cool because I call myself Duck Sage Venture. And what I have here is the bounty of last season's hunting. This is duck pepperoni, courtesy of Stewart's Meats out of McKenna, Washington. They do a really good job there. It's really tasty. I got 80 pounds of pepperoni made this season. This is hot and spicy jalapeno. It's really good. So I'm gonna take a smaller piece. I'm gonna snack on that while I'm waiting for my water to boil. So here we have Sarah in the tent, all bundled up, ready to go to bed. What'd you think of the day today, Sarah?
Oh, and that was a pretty good day. We got close to where we wanted to go. It was a gorgeous day. It was really, really beautiful. There's practically no wind and it wasn't actually that hot. You can't really ask for a better climbing day. And I've never been to this spot, so this is pretty awesome. It's a pretty badass camp. And there's nobody else around.
Yeah, it's pretty quiet, isn't it?
It's really, really quiet.
Only a few skiers came by us today.
Yeah, earlier. That's it.
What's up with your sleeping pad?
It is leaking. My brand new maiden voyage, it's leaking. I blew it up once at the house, never taken it anywhere. C'est la vie. So I'm trying to tape up all I can think of. We've done a pretty good inspection of it and it's still leaking. So thank goodness we have those foam mats underneath us. And let's hope it's not too much of a restless night.
You anxious for tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm always a little anxious for crevasse crossings, especially the first ones of the year. It's gonna be interesting. It'll be fun, you know, it's an adventure, but it's pretty broken up glacier over there that we're crossing in the morning.
Should be fun.
Should be awesome.
Well, that just about does it for our first day. We got about an hour of sunlight, maybe less, until it goes over the ridge there and it gets really cold up here. We both changed our clothes into our down jackets, thermal underwears and pants. We just finished eating dinner and we're now tidying up camp and getting ready for the evening light show and to crawl into our tent and sleep comfortably until the morning. We plan on getting up around 4 a.m. It's going to be dark and cold still, but we have to boil more water in the morning, eat breakfast, break camp, and get our climbing gear ready for roped glacier travel to tackle tomorrow's obstacles. I'm really excited to take on the Cowlitz Glacier tomorrow. It's going to be interesting, and to go camp at a place that we've never camped, never even seen with our own eyes, up close and personal, here at Mount Rainier National Park. Look at the shadow of Mount Rainier. That gives you an indication of how big that mountain really is by the size of the shadow it can cast to the east when the sun is setting. Good morning, it is day number 2. We had a very beautiful sunrise. We're a little bit late getting going today, but the conditions are still really cold and firm, perfect for glacier travel at the moment. We are roped up and climbing across the Cowlitz Glacier, heading for the heavily crevassed section just in front of us. We have knots tied in the climbing rope because we're on a 2-person rope team, and that adds friction in case of a crevasse fall. And just look at this. Right above us here, we have Anvil Rock, and a very large bergschrund is right underneath of it. We're skirting right below it. And we are kind of taking a little break before we entered this jumbled, cracked up section of the glacier right here. I think what we're going to do is we're going to go up that way, end run those crevasses, and then go up that way. And it's very broken up in here for sure. Crevasses are not places for the living, so we try to do as much as we can to stay out of them. We are in the middle of this broken up crevasse section now, and it's dangerous but also really fun. This is the stuff we've been waiting to do for a very long time, and it's going to be short-lived. We're almost through it now. Quite a few crevasse crossings already. And then we're going to head up through that jumbled block of seracs right there. We have made it through the majorly broken crevasse section of the Cowlitz, and now we're looking up towards its upper cirque. Right up there is Gibraltar Rock. There's Cathedral Rocks coming down here, and Camp Muir is right up there around that corner. So now the next step in this journey is to drop down. We're going to turn right and go down the Cowlitz just a tad bit, and we're looking to go right in there. There's a little notch in the rock, and we're going to hop over to the Ingram and then cross that. But I have a feeling the Ingram's going to be a little bit more mellow than what we just went through. We are on the spine of rock separating the Cowlitz from the Ingram. It is called Cathedral Rocks. It's a long spine that comes all the way down from Gibraltar Rock. And now we got our first views of the Ingram Glacier. There's its ice fall right there. It drops way down where it converges with the Cowlitz. There's quite a few crevasses in there too, but we don't got to go that way. What we have now is 2 options to make. We either drop down straight down the glacier, or we go up and around that way, but the ultimate objective is that snow ramp right there. And there's a rock band right there, and I would say that's the next major obstacle that we have to get over. And there was a group of guys resting here a few minutes ago, But they're gone and we can't see them, so I wonder if they went up and further up the Ingram Glacier. Sarah, what'd you think of that section?
Whew. Still a little shaky, but it was a lot of fun.
Well, that did not go as planned. While sitting there on Cathedral Rocks, Sarah and I had a council meeting. Ingram Glacier could have been crossed. There were several options to get across safely. It was not nearly as bad as what the Cowlitz was. The steep Hogsback on the other side could have been climbed too, but ultimately at the very top of the Hogsback there was the rock chute and the cliff band we would have had to have climbed, which looked pretty steep, to get over to the Whitman Glacier and our next camp. And that obstacle ultimately made Sarah change her mind. It made her pretty scared at the thought of having to climb it, and she thought and stated that we shouldn't go on after that. So we didn't. We stopped there, and that was our turnaround point on Cathedral Rocks. We went back the way we came through the Cowlitz Glacier, which was popping and cracking from the growing midday heat. We made it back to our camp, we packed up, and we came home safely to climb again another day. We understand now why a lot of parties climb Little Tahoma out of White River versus Paradise. I think Paradise is just probably a little bit better earlier in the season. This is late May. I'm sure that a lot more climbs are done of Little Tahoma from Paradise, April, and early May, leading up to June. The route from White River is just different. It seems a little bit more less technical and less prone to rockfall hazard as the way from Paradise. So the beauty of living here in Washington is that it's always there. The mountains aren't really going anywhere in my lifetime, and we can return to climb another day. That's what we intend to do. We're going to give it a couple of weeks. We're going to work up our physical fitness game and return again and attempt Little Tahoma from the White River side, and that way we'll get the best of both worlds. We will have attempted multiple ways for the same peak and just have a well-rounded knowledge of that area of the mountain. You don't know if you don't try, though. I'm glad we went this way. It was beautiful. It was something new. We'd never done anything like that before in this park, and we gained a ton of experience to fall back on in the future. So wish us luck. We are going to return to Little Tahoma again. Good morning. It is Saturday, July the 3rd, 2021. And Sarah and I are back here at Mount Rainier National Park. We're going to give Little Tahoma a second attempt. Conditions are going to be much different from what they were over a month ago in late May. We've experienced, as everybody's probably known, here in the Pacific Northwest, extreme heat, and I guess there's a heat bulge over our region, and there's been a lot of snow melt, so conditions are going to be much more free and clear of snowpack further up. So what this means is we are lightly optimistic about the outcomes of this climb. Also, at the end of our last attempt on Little Tahoma, Sarah injured herself. She tore a muscle in her calf, and so we have to be cognizant of that. She feels well enough to be here today and to attempt this climb. We have a permit to stay 2 nights on the Fryingpan Glacier. We are approaching from the White River side, and we are about, I don't know, 1.5 miles in on the Fryingpan Creek Trail on the east side of Mount Rainier National Park. We're going to head up to a very famous place called Summerland, and then from there we're going to head cross country up to Meany Crest and start looking for a place to find our camp. Really anxious to get started on this one. It's our last big chance to climb a big mountain this climbing season, just because we have other plans later on in the summer that we want to make sure that we attend. Fryingpan Creek Trail, which is right here, is a relatively flat and mellow path up the Fryingpan Creek drainage, which is right down there. It's in the shade right now, and it is quite cool. This drains the Fryingpan Glacier, which tonight Sarah and I will hopefully be camping on. We are leaving the valley floor of the Fryingpan Creek drainage, and we are about to make the final ascent up to Summerland Meadows. So you come up those switchbacks, a couple short steep ones, and it puts you right here, world famous Summerland Meadows, one of the premier stops on the Wonderland Trail. And it is early July, and I don't think I've ever seen it this melted out before. I've never been here this early before in the hiking season, actually. So, testament to the 100-degree weather we had just about a week ago today. Sarah's right down here by the creek. We go down and rendezvous with her. We're going to take a break, decide our next move, because we have to make it up onto Meany Crest up there. So let's go down and see what's up with Sarah. We have found Sarah lounging on a rock next to the creek. If you can make her out, Sarah is right there about to cross this snowfield. Our objective right now is this rocky crest with the small fir trees on it. And then we're going to go around that corner, these cliff bands right here, and there should be a gully that heads up rather steeply, more snowfields and rock fields, and that should top out around 7,500 feet and Meany Crest, and we could start looking for a camping spot up there. Really excited for this part of the journey. It's a place in Mount Rainier that we've never explored before. We found some running water. You have to take advantage of that. Come across that in environments like this. It means we don't have to melt that to drink it. And we're doing a really good job at staying hydrated today. So, the question is, you just got to get up in there. Ooh, I found some right here. There we go. Now we just got to filter this. So we have reached kind of this nice little bench, a little bit of a flat area to take a tiny little break, and we see the final slopes of our day today. We are pretty certain Meany Crest Camp is right there on top of that rock table, and we are planning to kind of just make our way across this snowfield, do a rising traverse up to the rock crest, and hopefully that'll be our camp up there. We have crested over the steep ridge of rock and snow we were climbing on, and we have arrived at Meany Crest. It's a nice flat pumice table. Sarah says that right over there's a pretty awesome camp. We'll have to go check that one out when we're making our decision on where to sleep tonight. Okay. But just look at this 5-star view that we got for the evening, pretty much for the next couple of days. Here's the Fryingpan Glacier right there. Whitman Gap is right there. That's the next big objective tomorrow morning. Outstanding views of Mount Rainier and the Emmons Glacier. And looking off towards the north here, here's another tent pad. That one will also do, but I'm going to go check out this one over here that Sarah says is awesome, and it looks like it's probably going to beat this one. And so this is the camp that Sarah found over here on the opposite side of Meany Crest, and I have to say, I think it's better than the one I was looking at. So this will be home for the next couple of nights. Not a bad place to spend the 4th of July weekend. It is a little bit after 4 p.m. and as you can see, camp is set, the tent is up, Sarah's making her bed, and next we get to eat. Can't wait to scarf some food down and relax in this joyous setting that we happen to find ourselves in.
Ooh, that's comfy.
Comfortable in there?
Yeah. Ooh.
So here's a 360-degree view around our camp. Off to the east there, we have Cowlitz Chimneys. Right down there is Panhandle Gap, and the Wonderland Trail goes right down there to Summerland, which is down the valley just a little bit more. Sarvant Glaciers are up all in these little cirques here. And then that way, Wonderland Trail goes down to Indian Bar. Kind of just tucked up against this giant cirque on this finger of rock that's sticking out. It kind of drops off on both sides. Up there is Whitman Crest. Okay. Whitman Gap, which is the next achievable objective. Little Tahoma. Whitman Glacier is over there in the shadow. This is Fryingpan Glacier in the foreground there. There's Columbia Crest, the Emmons Glacier, K Spire is that finger of rock right there. It'd be a fun climb. Over here is Steamboat Prow. Camp Sherman is right there at the very tip of Steamboat Prow. I can see reflections every once in a while up there. It's probably a busy camp. Down here you can kind of see the moraines of the Emmons over the years that it has receded. And there's Burroughs Mountain right there. Over there is Mount Fremont. It has a lookout tower on top of it. Okay. Kind of foreground right here is Goat Island Mountain. And then beyond that, the ridges over there, that's where Sunrise is. Those are the Sourdough Mountains right there. Great place to go hiking. Beyond the Sourdough Mountains, way over there underneath those clouds, you can see Lima Mountain and Mount Daniel in the Alpine Lakes Wilderness. There's the road to Sunrise. Down there is Fryingpan Creek drainage that links up with White River. It goes down the corner to the Enumclaw Plain and eventually Puget Sound. And off there on the horizon you can see Fife's Peak. Crystal Mountain is also over there. This is Tomanos Mountain down here. And then we link back up with the Wonderland. Just when you think you know Mount Rainier National Park, Tahoma goes and does this to you. Absolutely incredible day of hiking and climbing. We are perched on one of the most spectacular camps I think we've ever stayed at. And we're overloaded with sensual eye candy, sound candy, smell candy. The sun is setting on a great day. We're going to go to bed here soon. We're going to try and get up at 2 a.m. and get out of camp as soon as we can. We do not have to carry most of our gear, just climbing equipment and food and emergency 10 essentials up the mountain. We're going to climb up to the flat mellow section of the Fryingpan Glacier, rope up there. There are crevasses higher up, make our way to Whitman Gap, and that will be our first objective of the day. We'll see how we feel. We'll see how Sarah's leg feels at that point. And then we'll make the next decision to move on from there. But we just have to take it one step at a time. Can't get too ahead of ourselves and make our objectives rational and obtainable. It's okay to turn around if we have to. Don't want anybody to get injured. It was really smoggy today. We noticed it was incredibly hazy down in the valley. And as we got up higher, we could see that there was a smoke layer pretty much covering the whole Cascades that we could see from here. It's going away now, and Sarah actually got incredibly good service up here on her phone, and she looked it up. There are 2 fires burning at the moment in California and in British Columbia, and the winds are carrying the smoke here to the west, to the Cascades of Washington State. It is forecasted to get better over the next couple of days. So we'll see what happens. It already is getting better from what it was earlier today. We can see a lot of the peaks that we couldn't see earlier in the daylight haze. The sun's gonna be going down. I'm gonna go interview Sarah here and see what she thought of the day, and then we'll say goodnight. All right, Sarah, this is your first time and my first time up to Meany Crest. What'd you think of today?
Today was pretty awesome, and this camp is totally epic. Summerland is definitely one of my favorite camps in Rainier, and this blows it out of the water. It's just up, just a little bit.
How much up was a little bit to get up here?
I think it was what, like 1,300 feet?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's definitely a little painful.
So it's been a year of injuries for both of us. My back feels all right. How does your leg feel?
Wasn't sure I'd make it up that last little bit over here. We just took it nice and slow. My leg was wanting to cramp up on me or something. I don't know, it was pretty painful, but once we got here it kind of calmed down. It's a little sore, but I'm pretty optimistic about tomorrow. We really want to make it to the top of Little Tahoma, but if we don't make it, this has been an awesome adventure already, and you got to get out there and test it. You don't really know if you're healed until you try.
So we are approaching the higher reaches of the Fryingpan Glacier. We are skirting underneath of these minor crevasses here. And Whitman Gap is within our reach. Our first objective of the day. It's right there. And from there we'll make our next decision.
I think it's time for new crampons. The kind you have. Order new backs.
Sarah, what happened?
Well, seems like this spring gave way. This last little bit up to the crest, my crampon came undone just like this. Still strapped to my boot. I've had this happen before, and I replaced the springs, and it wasn't that long ago, so I'm pretty disappointed that it's happening again.
We are in the neighborhood of around 9,000 feet. We are standing on Whitman Crest. We have attained our first goal for the day. We are looking that way towards the south. Got the Tattoos, Goat Rocks, Mount Adams, Mount Hood off in there. Here's our first view of the Whitman Glacier. Down around that corner is the Ingram and the snow ramp that we turned around at a little over a month ago. And the route from this point on goes across the Whitman, and then we turn and go further up, it's steeper slopes. And the summit is up there. Well, we're so close, but so far. When we started this climbing season, we told ourselves this was going to be the one. We were going to get Little Tahoma, we were going to get another summit of Rainier, we were going to do all this ambitious stuff, and a lot of things kept us from achieving our goals this year. I was out for a month with a back injury, so half of April, half of May, and then our first attempt on Little Tahoma didn't work out so well. We tend to like having conferences and decision-making meetings on cleavers of rock on Mount Rainier because we just decided here on Whitman Crest that it's probably not the best idea to go on. I'll let Sarah explain the reasoning why we're not going on past this point.
Well, mainly my leg. It's just not really up to another, what would we say, 2,100, 2,200 feet. It doesn't look that far. It looks completely doable, but I'm already in a pretty good deal of pain. If my crampon slipped off that foot, or if I stepped on it wrong, or if I re-ruptured it, we'd be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
So I just think the safest thing to do is to turn around, even though it's right there.
That's the curse of climbing, is you just have to remember that the summit, the summit this time, Little Tahoma, it's a place that you sometimes get to visit. And we still did climbing, we still roped up, we did some glacier travel, we made it to this spot. We've never been to Whitman Crest before, but I think it would be just irresponsible of us, with Sarah's broken crampon and her broken leg, to go on past this point. If she got hurt up there, it'd really be a bad situation because we're a long way from the car, and we're safe here. It's not that bad back down to the camp, and it's always nice laying around at a high alpine camp. So I think I'm anxious to get back down there and lay down in bed and take a nap.
Nap sounds nice.
And then get up and just enjoy the views and relax. We're here. Got to escape from the farm for a weekend, so that's always good. We were working pretty hard there, getting all that hay done, and it's a relief just to be up here. Oh yeah, today's my birthday too. Forgot to mention that.
Happy birthday, babe.
4th of July is my birthday, and I guess I wouldn't, I got everything I wanted. I wanted to at least come up and check out this route. We know it's a lot easier than the other way we tried, and it'll be here next year. We'll come back and try it again. Here we are, our second and final night at Meany Crest High Alpine Camp. Sarah and I have stayed at quite a few high alpine camps here in Mount Rainier National Park. We both agree this one is probably the best one we've ever stayed at. The rock walls around our tent platform are solid windbreaks, very sheltered, and epic 5-star views any which way you look. Like right here, we're looking down on Summerland Camp, 1,500 feet below us, Goat Island Mountain, and the moraines of ancient Ice Age glaciers sprawled out below us. We turned around at Whitman Gap, made quick time coming down the Fryingpan Glacier, We got back to camp. We pretty much spent all day eating, drinking water, napping, and just lounging on these rocks looking at all the scenery around us. It is the 4th of July. It is my birthday, as I mentioned earlier, but it's also America's birthday. And the last 10 years or so, we've kind of just gotten away from the city, away from the fireworks, and away from the crowds, and really gotten used to coming up to places like this to celebrate not only America's independence, but our independence and our freedom to do what we want, the freedom of the hills, and to celebrate America the way we want to. Because this is what America is: raw, untapped wilderness. Good morning. It's our third and final day here in the backcountry on this trip. And this is the conclusion to our attempts at Little Tahoma this season. Really wanted to make it to the summit of Little Tahoma. We tried from two different routes. We tried from Paradise a month ago. We tried here from Fryingpan Creek yesterday. Both attempts didn't make it. But that's the reality of climbing. You don't always make it. In fact, more often than not, Sarah and I, as an independent party, don't make it to summits of mountains. But one thing that is always for certain while we're up here is the movement of climbing. We get to rope up, we get to put our crampons on, we get to use our ice axes. Climbing is not all about making the summit. It's about the journey that gets you there. And it's about the views, it's about the scenery, it's about the teamwork, the companionship. It's also about the disgruntledness and the pain and the misery you feel, both when you don't make it and the physical exertions of the climb. So it'll always be here. Next year will come around for certain. I'll be a year older, but that's the nature of the beast. We'll try again next year. We know very well, what to expect by going both routes. I think for sure though we'll come back to this camp again. It was just awesome staying here on Meany Crest. Right now behind me you should be seeing sunrise on Mount Rainier. That's why they call it sunrise, is because the east face, Emmons Glacier right there, is facing east. It captures morning light, beautiful alpine glow. You're going to see the pink start at the summit, and move all the way down to the base until the sun comes up and adds heat, energy, and warmth to our lives. We are going to pack up camp. It's pretty windy this morning,